Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic:
what are some good things that are happening in the world that people might not know about? Costa Rica is running almost entirely on renewable energy most of the year. Yeah, that's dope. Costa Rica really set the bar. Another cool one is how a bunch of countries in Africa just wrapped up massive tree planting projects to fight desertification, like literally turning dead land green again. Burkina Faso saved a huge amount of its country by planting trees in areas where the land was drying out, saving a lot of people from hunger and misery. They still have a bad time, but less so. It is a very interesting country. I had to organize a team between several sister airlines to send equipment for those trees, set up a logistics network that reached Ouagadougou. I feel proud to be the leader of that team. The Great Ocean Cleanup is doing amazing work on researching and removing plastic from our oceans and waterways, including intercepting plastics in rivers before it makes its way to oceans. We might yet see the Great Pacific Garbage Patch cleaned up in our lifetimes, along with other floating islands of plastic. There is another thing happening with plastics that is arguably both good and bad. Plastic-eating fungi and bacteria. The good is that all the plastic waste may become decomposable and end up having a minor long-term issue on the environment. The bad is that plastics will become decomposable and lose its key properties for why it is so valuable. I have a nightmare where this bacteria starts eating all the plastic in our world and our world just falls apart. We have plastic in everything. The latter might also be a good thing, in that it forces us to innovate further and make something better. Edit, relax, I didn't say, make something new. We can absolutely innovate with materials we already have to make something that's both cheaper and safer for the environment. Cancer deaths have dropped by over 25% in the US since 1991, with breast cancer deaths decreasing by 39%. Cervical cancer deaths have markedly dropped as well since the introduction of the HPV vaccine. I'm somewhat newly single, after 30 years, and, on the advice of my doctor, I just complete the HPV vaccine cycle. Even if it couldn't affect men, which it totally can, why would I want to be a carrier for something so horrible to women? 3 shots over 8 months is nothing big. My friend, 100 pounds sopping wet, got stage 4 colon cancer. They gave him 3 months to live, and chemo would have killed him. He became a case study for an experimental immunotherapy drug that him and 2 others in British Columbia went on because his immune system detected his tumor, except cancer doesn't die. They biopsied the tumor and found that it was covered in dead white blood cells. So his body knew it was a threat, just couldn't kill it. So he went into the cancer clinic every 2 weeks for a treatment. He also had surgery to have an ostomy bag attached to his stomach. The immunotherapy drug worked so well it obliterated his cancer to the point where his tumor effectively fell off. During the emergency surgery he had to fix the tumor wound. They were able to reverse the ostomy bag as well. He's missing 1/3 of his colon, but he beat the absolute fuck out of that cancer. And, by looking at him, you'd never know he had it. This hits very close to home for me. I'm 36 meters, have stage 4 colon cancer, also live in BC, and after having surgery and chemo my cancer returned. However, in that time we discovered I'm in the 5% or so of people who can benefit from immunotherapy for colon cancer. I'm about 5 months in and getting ready for my next CT scan in a couple weeks to see how things are looking. I appreciate how much hope you gave me with your comment. Thank you so much for sharing. For the first time in a few years, I have a ton of butterflies and dragonflies flying around my house. Apparently this year was a really good year for insects. I mentioned seeing so many butterflies to a bug person. I am very tired, I forget who he volunteered for, and he said in general it's been a really good year. Last year was a really bad year, so it makes it even more noticeable. UK here. Years ago we used to get so many bugs splattered on the windscreen, but due to pesticides etc. it had become noticeably less. This year the splats are back, so yay for more insects. Although not so good for the ones that are splattered. I see more bees, butterflies and other insects flying around when I'm walking outside. Midwest US here, more butterflies, lightning bugs, fireflies to you non-whose ears, and dragonflies this year than I've seen in years, and no parallel increase in mosquitoes. There are a lot of nice late summer flowers blooming at the moment. The bees are happy. I have so many hibiscus flowers popping up this week. Frogs raised in captivity are crushing it in the wild. The alala, or Hawaiian crow, was reintroduced to the wild and they seem to be doing well. The species had been extinct in the wild since 2002. https://www.hawaiinews.now.com/2025/06/26/alala-birds-increase-range-natural-behaviors-6-months-post-release-into-wild/. I'm sober for 3 months today. And I'm 7 days. I'm alive and I can walk again. Edit, I fucking love you guys. Thank you, I'm crying. Whales are slowly returning to parts of the ocean they hadn't been seen in for decades. Nature heals when we give it the chance. Ozone layer is actually healing faster than expected. Scientists think it could be fully restored in our lifetime. Child mortality has dropped by more than half worldwide in the last 30 years. Millions more kids are growing up healthy today than ever before. The world is a better place than it once was. Take a walk around any old cemetery in your area and look at the gravesites from the early 20th or the 19th century. An inordinate amount of them are children ranging from young teens to toddlers to babies. The reasons for large families of 5+ offspring are multitude in nature, but mainly because of the fact that families suffered from all kinds of preventable, avoidable disease and sicknesses. It's a favorite pastime of mine and my mom's to visit all kinds of cemetery sites in historical Canadian towns and cities and regions, and it's always heartbreaking. The mayor of Baltimore is revolutionizing his city. Big spends on new rec centers and after-school programs have cut crime almost in half. Test scores are also on the rise. It looks like kids just needed somewhere safe to go and be kids. The power of the third place. Lots of after-school programs through City Hall. High schoolers have so many more service hour opportunities and internships. The ozone layer is healing. The giant hole we created in the atmosphere is slowly closing because we actually fixed our behavior for once. Banning CFCs is the last and only time the whole world came together for a united purpose. Only time. Eliminating smallpox. Also, smog isn't nearly as much of an issue lately. Acidic rains are gone in most of the world and people are no longer being poisoned by lead. We are able to solve most problems. It just takes a generation or two sometimes. There's lots of scholars out there translating old books into English for the first time. As an example, scholars are currently almost finished translating the complete works of St. Augustine into English for the first time. It's taken 35 years so far and they've now published 45 of the 49 planned volumes. The works of St. Augustine, a translation for the 21st century. I recently came across a Persian myth translated into English for the first time. Samak the Ayyar. Adapted by the same guy who did the Prince of Persia games and helped write the screenplay of the movie, it tells the tale of a Persian rogue, kind of a Robin Hood figure, who helps a princeling pursue a Chinese woman named Moon Fairy. This is a collection of stories so old, it even features pre-Islamic names and settings. This reminded me of Amro Ayyar. I grew up reading about his adventures and his magic sack, which looked like a normal sack from outside but had endless capacity, and whenever he got caught he would look in his sack and find exactly what he needed to escape. He just kept getting in absurd situations and escaping and bargaining. Later, when Harry Potter books were launched, I was astonished at Hermione's bag and its resemblance to Amro Ayyar's sack. Though smaller on the scale of things already said here, I have had serious depression for the past 2 decades. For the first time in my life over the past couple years, I've been doing better. Finally found the right meds, got an incredible raise at my job, and my mom is healthy. Things have improved in many aspects. I danced in the kitchen for the first time ever. It was strange but exhilarating. Solar and wind power are now cheaper than coal in many countries. Clean energy is actually winning on economics, not just ethics. If you're young right now, there's a decent, not high, but not low, chance that there might be a general cancer cure in our lifetime because of CRISPR technology and immunotherapy. Early advances in CRISPR have been absolutely phenomenal. For instance, CRISPR Therapeutics has actually managed to cure sickle cell disease in humans. The treatment is known as Casgevy. Downside, it costs something like $2 million lol. I am also a physician in an area known for one of the top cancer hospitals in the country, and immunotherapy is a revolution happening right now, allowing physicians to give many patients with previously untreatable cancers a fighting chance. I'm seeing way more patients on it than ever, and we are being given guidance on how to treat potential side effects. These treatments were only theoretical when I was starting medical school. Same for CRISPR. In fact, it was only beginning to emerge in labs when I was getting my bachelor's and master's 10-ish years ago. Both of these technologies can be engineered to be incredibly specific to the exact genetic sequences of disease. If, for instance, you could create a CRISPR treatment that turns off crucial cancer genes, p53, telomerase, in only your specific cancer cells, the cancer could be completely cured without affecting any other cell in your body. This is still very, very far from reality. However, that's what we said about these technologies 10 to 20 years ago, and they're already being used in humans to a very limited degree. I'm very, very excited to see where they will progress in the next 20 to 40 years. Disclosure, I do own a small amount of CRISPR therapeutic stock in my retirement portfolio. A family member is on immunotherapy and it seems like such a blessing compared to chemo. The side effects are significantly less, although still existent. He is not on full dose yet, 14 milligrams, with max dose being 20 milligrams, but already have seen huge improvement on scans. They say it's not a cure, but we're hopeful. Hopeful that science will advance fast enough for him. Can't put a price on hope. A little personal good thing happening in my life. After years of trying desperately to hold on to my rapidly receding hairline, I finally decided to go all out and shave my head. And you know what? Not only is it freeing, but I've actually gotten compliments on it. Bald men who embrace and rock the look can be sexy AF. Good for you.